Good day, everyone. I greet you by your time, morning, afternoon, evening. Today, we're going to be looking at grace. What is grace? Grace is an unmerited favor. You did not work for it, you do not deserve it. It's an act of kindness from God. So, at every moment of our life, we need His grace. We need the grace of God. And we should always ask for the grace of God. There's nothing we can do without grace. There's nothing. There are people who maybe they planned to do something, possibly or they plan to travel. They need His grace. You've set something up, but do you know that there's a force above you that can make that thing to be accomplished? And that is the grace of God. There are people who start a journey and never make it to the end. There are people who make a plan and never achieve it. Not because they don't want to. It's just because at that particular time, grace was not there for them. They may fall sick. They may have a disappointment, either financially. They may be emotionally down. They may not have the support that they expect at that time. But when you call for grace, grace will always be with you. And when I mean grace, I mean the grace of God. I'm not talking of the grace from man. It is the grace of God. I had a prayer partner when I was in school. I think that was during my postgraduate days. So we normally would pray together, do things together. But one day, I visited her. So we did have a chat. We had many plans. We had several things. But it was my custom that anytime, not only with her, it's just part of me. I always say by the grace of God. If I'm gonna tell somebody that I'll see you tomorrow, I'll say by the grace of God. If I'm going to tell somebody, uh, give a promise, I will say by the grace of God. So that particular day, I visited her, and as I was leaving, I said, okay, I'll see you maybe in another 3 days, because we were not in the same faculty at all. We just had the fellowship connection, and that was where we became friends, and we're really intimate friends. Friends you could pour out your heart to in the place of prayer. So as I was leaving that day, I didn't mention grace. I just said bye. So one thing that touched my heart was immediately I took 3 steps to leave. She called me back and she said, "Sister, you have not said the grace of God." So, and then I now said, "By the grace of God." I don't know why. I'm this is a story of many, many years. A story of almost 30 years, if not more. Or thereabouts. But after I left her that day, I was thinking within me, why did she ask me to come back and say the grace of God? Of course, she was a prayer person too. So I guess she knew the importance of saying the grace of God. So I came back. I walked, I took the steps back, the 3 steps back, and I said, "By the grace of God." Then she smiled, and we both smiled. What can you do with your power? What do you think you achieved without the grace of God? He owns us, He owns our lives. By Him we live, by Him we achieve our purpose in life. Is the unchangeable. Is a wonderful God. My beloved, always ask for the grace of God. Always say the grace of God. Always plan hoping on the grace of God. And I pray for you that the grace of God will not leave you. His grace will be sufficient for you. And whatever situation you are at this time, you suddenly think your strength is failing. You suddenly feel, am I going to be achieve? Am I going to be able to achieve my plan? You are dejected. You are discouraged. I pray by the power of God that the grace of God will bring you out of discouragement and distress. Ọlọ́run tó tóbi, the God that is mighty, the world is not enough. It's too small to contain him. He's the merciful God. Call for his grace. Call for his mercy. His grace will lift you up. God cannot lie. He cannot. He cannot. All you need is the mercy of God. If you combine his grace with his mercy, If we look at it, mercy will bring grace. Somebody will interpret it as the same thing. But I believe one is a deeper level of the other. I believe they are complementary. Have you ever thought in your heart that you want to bless somebody? You're showing mercy. You feel there's a vacuum in the person, and you feel, oh, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stand in for this person. And you put your feet down to do it. That is you, an human being. I want you to now consider God. If you as an individual did wake up one day and all that came to your mind was trying to bless somebody, I remember one morning I woke up and I had this feeling that I should bless somebody. The person is my nephew. For a while, I haven't had conversations with him. So I just felt, oh, it was as if it was just laid on my heart. And all day I was thinking about him. I went to work, I thought about him. I came back, I thought about him. And I was just uncomfortable. So I prepared whatever I was going to bless him with. And I started calling him. And he would not pick his call. I called him several times. He did not pick his call. And I was wondering, why will he not pick his call? But I was so uncomfortable. Then, I guess because we don't have the same time, we don't stay in the same country. When he woke up, he saw my missed calls, then he called. And I said, I want to bless you with something. And I did it. It was a surprise. God will show you mercy. And God will show me mercy. The grace of God, the mercy of God can change our life. If you are such a person that you always ask for the grace of God, but you've never at any time showed mercy to somebody, please start from today. If you show mercy, you will receive mercy. And the grace of the Lord will help you to achieve this. Please think about this. Don't talk as if you own your life. Don't be too confident of yourself. Several people have made that mistake. They think they own everything. Of course, congratulations. You are so comfortable, you are so rich, you feel everything around you is good, but you need the grace of God. You need the grace of God. You need the mercy of God. Always ask for grace. Always ask for grace. And I know His grace will be sufficient for you and for me, because I need the grace of God. You need the grace of God. By His grace, by His grace, we'll get there. His grace is sufficient in every situation. It's in every situation. No matter what, no matter how difficult, God will strengthen you. God will see you through. His grace will be sufficient for you and for me. God bless you.